The truth doesn't knock anymore, it kicks the door down, and this time it's coming from inside Meghan Markle's own bloodline. Because when your own sister starts whispering about Dina, sealed records, and missing years, this isn't gossip anymore, this is a warning shot.
Would come out. So apparently, according to other journalists, we found out that there were a lot of porcupines probably told to the royals and even to Harry when they met her, and in order to cover up.
People have doubted Meghan for years, whispered, side-eyed, connected dots that never quite lined up. The timeline always felt edited, like someone took scissors to her past and snipped out entire chapters. College years that don't add up, a marriage nobody talks about, and now a child that may never have been supposed to exist.
What we said, everything I said in the beginning was favorable. Nobody printed that. And when I said nothing, they created stories, and it was really just...
Let's be honest, resemblance has always been part of the rumor fuel. Similar features, familiar expressions, the kind of coincidence that makes people pause and squint at old photos a little longer than they should. Because once the idea is planted, every smile becomes evidence. Every similarity becomes suspicious.
She's reinvented herself so many times throughout the last 44 years.
Let's get brutally real. If hypocrisy had a royal crest, Meghan Markle would be engraved right in the center. Every lecture about authenticity, every speech about living your truth, every carefully staged moment from that Montecito bubble, it all hits different when the internet starts asking one uncomfortable question. What truth is missing? Because something shifted, quietly, dangerously.
I wrote to the state of California Birth Records Office. I wrote to them and I said, I don't have documentation. All I have is this data. They conducted a search with finding if a Rachel Meghan Markle had given birth in the state of California, if she has any other children. You'll be surprised to see what they gave me.
They can't find the child, Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, but they did tell me that a Miss Rachel Meghan Markle gave birth to a child in 1997. They can't disclose the details because those were sealed. And look at the date these documents were sealed.
Samantha Markle didn't scream. She didn't rant. She didn't go on some chaotic media tour. She did something far more terrifying, she implied. Calm, controlled, surgical. She suggested there were things buried so deep that even the palace wouldn't touch them. And when your own sister starts talking like that, people listen. This wasn't another my sister is mean moment. This was a crack in the porcelain. She talked about reinvention, about pasts being cleaned up, about stories never meant to surface. And then, nah, that word alone sent shockwaves through royal watchers, skeptics, and even people who swear they don't care about Meghan Markle at all. Because Dina doesn't care about branding. Dina doesn't respect PR. Then came the documents. She wrote to California Birth Records. No proof, just data, just a name. And what came back wasn't silence, it was absence. No record of Lily Diana, but a sealed record from 1997. A Rachel Meghan Markle. A birth, locked away, sealed later. And suddenly everyone was asking the same thing at the same time. Why now? Because if there's nothing to hide, why hide it? To understand why this detonated the internet, you have to rewind not to the royal wedding, not to Oprah, not to Netflix, but to a random interview almost nobody noticed when it aired. A casual conversation. No pressure, no agenda. And then boom. Paula Trickey casually mentioned something that should have shattered the narrative instantly. Meghan had already been married and already had a child. No dramatic pause, no shock, just dropped like small talk. And yet nothing happened. Why? Because back then the Meghan machine was untouchable. Full throttle. Anything that didn't fit the fairy tale narrative got wiped clean. Fans were too busy quoting Oprah and calling critics racist to notice a grenade had just rolled across the floor. But now, that clip aged like a curse. Because when Samantha started hinting at buried truths, people went back, dug deeper. And suddenly that throwaway comment didn't sound accidental at all. It sounded like someone slipping up, saying something they weren't supposed to remember. This is where it stops being gossip and starts feeling dangerous. Samantha didn't give proof, she gave direction. She didn't accuse, she suggested. And that's worse, because suggestion invites investigation. People started mapping timelines, Northwestern years, missing months, odd gaps, interviews that jumped from point A to point C with no B. It felt like watching a movie where entire scenes were deleted, and you can feel it. Silence didn't help. It never does. Because when the palace dismisses something as nonsense without disproving it, people don't calm down, they dig harder. Reddit threads exploded. TikTok detectives analyzed old body language like it was courtroom footage. Every awkward pause became suspicious. Every smile became rehearsed. And then a villain appeared. Joseph Giuliano. The internet latched onto him like a lifeboat. Secret husband, secret father, secret everything. Forums went feral. Photos of random men were passed off as proof. YouTube thumbnails screamed in all caps. It was chaos. But then the cracks showed. No marriage license, no verified witnesses, no photos, no receipts. The story collapsed under its own weight. And when it did, people asked the scariest question of all. If this was wrong, what was it distracting us from? Because misdirection is a classic move. Suddenly, eyes turned inward, toward family, toward people already in the picture. And that's when the cousin theory ignited. Sean Johnson. Nobody knew his name before this. But once they did, the internet spiraled. What if the child wasn't hidden far away? What if the labels were switched? What if the secret was hiding in plain sight? Yes, it sounds insane. But scandals don't survive on logic, they survive on doubt. Old photos resurfaced. Home videos got freeze-framed. People stared at noses, smiles, mannerisms. Family resemblance became the new DNA test. And once again, silence. Then came the letter. A physical letter. Screenshots everywhere. Mentions of tests. Truth. Unresolved family business. Nobody could confirm it. Nobody could debunk it. And Samantha, cool as ice, didn't deny it either. And that's when panic set in. Because perception matters more than proof online. And right now, the perception is this. Meghan Markle's past isn't missing, it's sealed. And the longer it stays sealed, the louder the whispers get. This story doesn't die because it feeds on control. And Meghan's entire brand is control. Perfect, polished, curated, which makes people desperate to find the crack. And Samantha knows it. She doesn't need to shout, she just needs to wait. Because silence isn't peace, it's pressure. And pressure always finds a way to explode. The thing about rumors like this is they don't need proof to survive, they need oxygen. And Meghan Markle has given them plenty. Every carefully worded silence, every refusal to directly deny, every polished smile that never quite reaches the eyes. Because when a scandal refuses to die, it's usually because something underneath it keeps breathing. People keep asking the same question over and over like a drumbeat that won't stop pounding. If none of this is true, why not end it? One test, one document, one clear final denial. But instead, we get distance, we get lawyers, we get vague statements about privacy. And privacy is a luxury that collapses the moment you build your entire brand on public virtue. This is where things turn psychological. Because Meghan didn't just sell a love story. She sold transformation, reinvention, the girl who rose above her past, the woman who survived the system, the icon who rewrote her destiny. But reinvention only works if the past stays buried. And when Samantha started hinting that the burial wasn't as deep as everyone thought, the ground started shaking. What really rattled people wasn't the idea of a secret child. It was the pattern. Sealed records, sealed marriages, missing years, selective storytelling. A life that reads less like a biography and more like a highlight reel with the rough footage cut out. And that's when skeptics, real skeptics, stopped laughing. Journalists who once rolled their eyes started saying things like, "It's strange." Authors who spent years researching her past admitted something felt off. Even critics who disliked Samantha Markle admitted she'd been right before. About distancing, about rewriting family history, about erasing inconvenient people. That's the dangerous part. Because when someone with a history of being dismissed starts being proven right in small ways, people wonder what else they were right about, but nobody wanted to hear. And let's talk about Harry. Because if this story is true, even partially, the fallout isn't just personal, it's nuclear. A prince who built his public identity on honesty, trauma, and truth, suddenly standing on a foundation that might not be what he was told. That's not tabloid drama, that's betrayal territory. And betrayal changes people. It's why people keep replaying old interviews, watching his face, looking for moments where confusion flashes across his eyes, moments where something doesn't quite land. Was he told everything? Or was he sold the same edited version the public got? Silence doesn't protect love, it isolates it. Meanwhile, Samantha stays calm, almost disturbingly calm. She doesn't chase attention. She lets attention chase her. One implication here, one unanswered question there. She understands something Meghan built her career on, narrative control, and she's disrupting it without ever fully crossing the line. That's why this story won't die, because it lives in the space between denial and confirmation, in the gap where truth should be, in the unanswered question that keeps people awake at 3 a.m., scrolling, connecting dots that may or may not exist. And the internet? The internet is ruthless. It doesn't forget. It doesn't forgive, and it definitely doesn't stop digging once it smells blood in the water. Every resurfaced clip, every old acquaintance suddenly remembering something, every blurry photo from the 90s that sparks another theory. This isn't journalism anymore, it's collective obsession. An obsession is powerful. The strangest part, Meghan's usual playbook isn't working. The distraction tactics, the lifestyle pivots, the carefully timed brand launches. Instead of resetting the narrative, they're backfiring. Because nothing says look over here louder than launching jam while the internet is screaming about Dina. It feels misaligned, tone deaf, almost panicked. And panic is visible even when it's dressed in beige and calligraphy fonts. People don't want perfection anymore. They want cracks. They want to see the human underneath the myth. And if that myth was built on omissions, the collapse won't be gentle. Here's the uncomfortable truth no PR team wants to say out loud. Even if there is no secret child, no hidden birth, no sealed scandal waiting to explode, the way this has been handled has already done damage. Because credibility doesn't disappear in one moment. It erodes. And erosion is slow, silent, deadly. Samantha understands that time is on her side. She doesn't need to win a court case. She doesn't need to prove anything today. She just needs the question to stay alive, because unanswered questions grow teeth. The palace knows it. The publishers know it. The streaming platforms definitely know it. Mystery sells. And this mystery has all the ingredients: royalty, family betrayal, identity, secrecy, and the one thing audiences can't resist: the possibility that the story they were sold isn't the whole truth. So where does this end? Maybe nowhere. Maybe everywhere. Maybe one day a document leaks. Maybe someone talks. Maybe nothing ever comes out and this stays exactly where it is, suspended, haunting, profitable. Or maybe the truth is simpler and messier than anyone expects. But one thing is certain: this isn't about a rumor anymore. It's about trust. And once trust cracks, even the most polished image can't hold. Because silence doesn't erase suspicion. It feeds it. And in the world Meghan Markle created, where truth is currency and authenticity is the brand, that might be the most dangerous thing of all. Most dangerous thing of all. Most dangerous thing of all.